2022 gave us over 300 new legends to become commanders in our deck, so I thought I'd do a little top 5 commanders released in 2022. I'm also announcing my very first contest.
Oh snap.
That's right, we're going to actually have us a little bit of a giveaway here on the channel. We're celebrating my almost 100th subscriber. A little background on this. I almost didn't start this channel back in April of this year. I was a little trepidatious and didn't know if anybody actually gave a damn about what I had to say about Magic. Now there's about 97 of you so far that do. So as a little bit of a thank you to my subscribers and anybody who's willing to subscribe in the next couple of videos, we're going to have us a little contest. Now, how do you get this card? Well, what you got to do is use the hashtag I'm about to post on the screen, hashtag Mana Echoes. That's right, this is the card I'm giving away. It's not some piece of trash. It's not some piece of draft chaff. It's an actual, about $17 card as of recording on TCG Player. So, in order to get this, in today's video or my Wednesday upload next week, put the words hashtag Mana Echoes in a comment on one of those two videos and become a subscriber if you're not already subscribed to my channel. I'm going to use a random pick and I'm going to pull from that to decide who wins. And then I will contact you either through YouTube or whatever method you want to contact me with. My email is in my description. That may be the easiest way to go about this. For now, let's get into the actual video of the day. Let's go ahead and kick this list off with Gatheirng the Incinerator. For 3, a black, a red, and a green, you get a 6/6 Demon Dragon with flying that says at the beginning of your end step you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Gatheirng deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. Streets of New Capenna introduced the Demon Family Leaders, and each of them is worthy of consideration here, but for me, I just love Gatheirng the Incinerator the best. It's a Demon Dragon. How do you top that creature combination?
You can't!
Flinging big dumb creatures at your opponents, sign me up, and I get to more mana for casting even more big dumb stuff to fling at my opponents. You really can't twist my leg any harder to like this legend. I also appreciate dragons that are strong, but not overpowered as hell. I'm looking at you, Corvald and Miram. And you get a good ability that isn't going to break the game with Gatheirng. I built my own personal paper version of Gatheirng as part of my pandemic pool, which is a restriction that I put in place that only allows cards that are either newly released or reprinted in the years 2020 up until Double Masters 2022 of this year. At that point, I cut it off, and mostly because public play is back in session at my local game store, so it just felt right that that is the cutoff. It's fun to come up with new restrictions on my decks like this, and it actually helps you cultivate experiences that you might enjoy, so I highly recommend that you and your playgroups create some like this and see what you like. Next up is from the very next set right after New Capenna, Minthara Merciless Soul. For 2, a white and a black, you get a 2/2 Elf Cleric with Ward X, where X is equal to your experience counters. And at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, you get an experience counter, and creatures get +X/+0 for each experience counter that you have. I've already made a video on this one, and my opinion on this commander remains unchanged. I like this uncommon commander, and built right, it can get out of control with just a few experience counters and going wide on the board. Orzhov is one of my favorite color combinations in this game. I absolutely love it, and this is one of the cards that I've had sitting around in a pile looking for a good home, and I get to use other cards that have been laying around, such as Nested Shambler, which can be great in this shell. What kind of decks have you made just using random stuff you've had laying around? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing about decks that seem like random piles doing well. Sticking around in the Orzhov colors, we're going to go to my next pick, which is Ratadribik of Urborg. For 2, a white and a black, you get a 3/3 Zombie Wizard with Vigilance and Ward 2 that says whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a copy of that creature, but it's a 2/2 black zombie in addition to its other types and is not legendary. The Legends Matter commander from Dominaria United that wasn't a busted asshole, unlike Joda the Unifier, Ratadribik actually happens to be in colors with strong legends and is able to create an unassailable set of board states, even being able to blow up its own board, leaving behind zombified versions of its legends to shamble after our opponents and their decimated board states. This commander also lets me use a couple cards that normally rot in a bulk box and allows them to shine here. Arvad the Cursed and Day of Destiny. Now, they won't pump our token versions of our legends, but all of our regular paper versions of the legends that are on the board are going to get nice and dangerous, making their opponents want to kill them, so then you get the zombified version later. My next pick is a little bit of a love-hate situation. Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief. For green and a blue, you get a 2/1 Fairy Rogue with flying. It says whenever you cast a spell and it only targets a single creature other than Ivy, you can copy the spell and the copy targets her. In general, Simic commanders are usually centered around one of two things: +1/+1 counter synergies and card draw synergies. So when one comes out that's not in that particular wheelhouse, it's worth a look. When this was released, I loved the card. It was quirky, it was unique, and it was fun. Now that I face it almost daily on MTG Arena and the builds do not differ in the slightest, yeah, I'm kind of over her in Historic Brawl. But in Commander, there are actually different ways you can build this and incorporate the build with strong auras and huge pump spells and just about anything like that, except for the huge mutate piles that the Arena versions have devolved into. But she's still a very unique and interesting commander to me, and that puts her on my list of favorites for the year. Keep an eye out. I will be doing a commander upgrades video to the Historic Brawl version I did a few months back, and I'll get you some good ideas here to get away from the mutate piles. My last pick for favorites coming out this year is one that surprised me as well when I was building it. It's Urza, Prince of Krug. For 2, a white and a blue, you get a 2/3 human artificer with artifact creatures you control, get +2/+2, and you can pay 6 of any color to create a token copy of a target artifact you control, except for it's a 1/1 soldier in addition to its other types. Now, normally blue-white is not a color combination that has ever really spoken to me. It's usually the colors of control, and that's not really something I care to do when I'm playing Magic the Gathering. I'm here to have fun, not tell others what they can or can't do. So I rarely run counter magic in most of my decks. Usually 1 or 2 as an emergency oh shit button, and not much else. The Prince of Krug, however, here doesn't play into the control aspect of its colors, but instead plays more into a mid-range to aggro style, where you build up a bunch of little artifact creatures that get pumped by his Anthem effect, and then you're actually also able to copy artifacts. And I love those big splashy effects like that in Commander. And there's some ways to abuse the hell out of this one with like token doublers and activated ability copying and some artifacts that can do some just really degenerate things when you're able to build up multiple copies of them in a game. So what do you think? Do you agree with my list of top 5 commanders that were released this year, or do you think there's somebody else who should have took a place in my list? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, if you want in my contest, use the hashtag to get entered in today's video or the next one on Wednesday. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next video.